Serving their community is who they are because they love where they live. REMAX 3D Real Estate is proud to bring you Heart of Royse City, a video series dedicated to celebrating all the wonderfully great things about Royse City, Texas. On every episode, Dennisha Denney will share Royse City's story through the stories of the people who call Royse City home. This is Heart of Royse City.
Hey y'all, I'm Dennisha Denney, your host of Heart of Royse City, and today we're sitting down at REMAX 3D Real Estate here in Royse City, and I am so honored to have Vanessa Stahl with us today with the Chamber of Commerce. How are you today, Vanessa?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Okay, we've had so much fun before we hit start, and we have to keep that going.
Okay.
So I want people to really get to know you. So let's talk about how you lied to your son.
Well, I don't lie to him. He lies to me. No, his name is Ezekiel, or Zeke, whichever one he wants to be called by. But he is convinced that he has a sister in Africa, and he has told this story since he was about 2 or 3. My sister has a photo of a child that she adopted through World Child Fund kind of organization. And he has convinced himself that she is his sister, and her name is Sissy. Her birthday is in August. She's 8. She'll be turning 8 this year, just in case you want to mail her a gift.
Has he made all this up?
He made it all up.
Okay, it's not like he saw
will
her
draw
name
pictures.
on it.
Nope. I don't even know this child's name, but her name is Sissy. She has different parents, but she lives in Africa, and he will draw photos of the family. So it's mom, dad, himself, and Sissy.
Wow.
And then like a random cousin.
That'll just show up in the
Yes,
drawing.
that will just show up. I will have to tell his teacher at the beginning of the year, he will tell you he has a sister, just go with it. Because he will argue with people. If you ever meet him, he will argue, no, I have a sister, and her name is Sissy.
And how old is he now?
He's 5.
He's 5. Okay, so this has been going on now for a few years.
Yeah, a few years.
So how does your husband feel about this?
He tells me that I need to tell him the truth. And I am good with it. I have convinced him, my child, not my husband, because that would be weird. But I've convinced him that the Queen of England is our Aunt Lizzie.
Oh.
And so he will see her, or he'll watch Peppa Pig and say, look, Mom, Peppa's visiting our Aunt Lizzie. And I'll talk in a British accent. So he's also convinced. Sister in Africa, and the Queen of England is our aunt.
I bet your husband secretly is stashing away money for his counseling and therapy he's going to need.
Probably.
That's so funny.
Yeah,
I can tell just by sitting down with you. I love your sense of humor.
Yes,
Where did you get that from?
Oh, gosh. My family, definitely. Probably my mom's side of the family. We're very sarcastic. We're very sarcastic, dry sense of humor, in your face kind of. We say it. I'm from California, and Californians are known for saying what everybody else is thinking. So I'm getting a little bit of trouble.
I bet. What's the most trouble you've gotten into?
Oh, I don't think I should share that.
Okay, what's the second most trouble? What's a story you can share about this?
Oh, goodness.
But I really want to know that other story, so you're going to have to tell it to me.
Let me think about that.
Okay.
But we just say what you were thinking.
Mind? Yeah.
And moving to Texas when I first moved here, it was 2006. When I moved here, I would just say things, and the shock value of, like, oh.
Did you know you were doing that?
No.
Oh.
I thought everybody talks like that. Until the shock value of, oh, maybe I shouldn't say those things out loud. It's not bad.
Right.
I'm not rude or anything, but
just direct.
I'm just very direct.
Yes.
Very direct.
So have you been well received now? Here we are in
I think,
2021. Have we accepted you?
We have, and I have learned we don't need to share.
You just keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You just smile. Yeah. Now I'm going to know when I see you and you're just smiling. Vanessa's thinking something really sarcastic.
Yeah, or funny. I'm funny.
I love that. How did you get to Texas? What brought you here?
My sister lived in Germany with her husband for many years, and they moved back to Texas. That is where he is from. So they moved back to Royse City. And I was living in the Bay Area of California. So Oakland.
Yes.
Worked in the East Bay, Walnut Creek. I was up there for 5 years and then just decided, hey, why not come to Texas? So I flipped a coin.
Literally?
Literally.
I
Every
love that.
major move I've ever made, I have flipped a coin.
Get out.
The coins
Okay,
are
do you call
very
it heads
good
or
to me.
tails?
Well, it depends
Does
on
it
where
change?
I'm going. I have moved from LA, Southern California, to the Bay Area, from the Bay Area to here, from here to Hawaii, and then back here.
Oh, wow.
And it's all on the flip of a coin. So it's usually head to whatever,
Right.
tails to somewhere else.
But do you secretly call the one that you have better odds on?
Mm-mm.
Nope, you don't. Do you
No.
have one that you have better odds on, heads or tails?
No,
That's
they're
funny.
just kind of.
It's funny that this is your
2 out
thing
of 3.
because when I absolutely cannot make a decision sometimes, I literally will flip a coin.
Oh, yeah.
So-
the coins are very good to me.
So with my husband, that I'm always like, if we get to an impasse, I'm like, let's flip a coin. He's
Flip
like,
a
nope,
coin.
we're going to do what you want to do. I always lose because
I
I always
know.
win. So
Yeah. So the coins are good to you, too.
They're good to me too.
Well, there you
Yes.
go. If you want to move, flip
I'm
a
going to
coin.
try that actually. I'm like, I want to
See
do
what
that.
happens.
That's so fun and adventurous.
You can't hold me responsible, though,
Okay.
if it turns out horribly. If it turns out great, it's all my idea. So.
Deal. So how did your sister came back to Royse City? You said were they originally from here? Like
No,
how in the
she's
world?
just like me, Southern California, born and raised. And he grew up in Grapeford, Texas.
Okay.
Mineral Wells.
Oh, okay.
That way.
That area.
Yeah, they're probably going to see this and
Yeah,
say that's not
that's not
that's
what
not
it-
at all where he's from.
That's okay. You,
So they
you told
moved
your
back.
children that you're
yeah.
related to the queen.
Yeah,
so.
we just make things up. We're from
Exactly.
Tennessee.
So I have to go back to this because now I'm like, this is super cool. You flipped a coin to figure out where you're going to live and where you're going to do. What were you doing to make you want to move?
I'm a free spirit. I've got a hippie soul, up and move, never say no to things. When I moved to Hawaii from here, that I had gone through a terrible breakup and I didn't have children and I was not married and everyone thinks, hey, we should move to an island, and I just did it.
You took action on it.
So that is my craziest whirlwind. Let's up and move. When I moved from the Bay Area to here, at least I knew my sister. When I moved to Hawaii, I knew no one.
Wow.
I'd
Had
never
you visited
been-
Hawaii? Like you just decided.
I'd never been. I bought a car online. The
No way.
dealership picked me up from the airport. That's how many people I did not know. The dealership picked me up, drove me back. I signed off, paid their money, and
What'd you do about housing?
I rented a room from a guy on Craigslist. This was a few years ago when you could. However, told you it was crazy.
I love it.
I worked for a woman in Rockwall who was an ex-police officer, and her husband is a private investigator. So I got the guy's info and said, do a background check. And he did the same to me because he
Okay.
doesn't want a psycho moving
Right.
to his house. And so, yeah, he worked at Costco. I drove to Costco, met him, got the key to his house, and then and we lived in a condo right across the street from the beach. And then my very first day on the island, I met my husband.
No
Yeah.
way.
And a little more than a year later, we married exactly where we met.
How cool is that? How did y'all meet on that first
On
day?
the beach, he just walked up and said, hi, I'm Daniel. And I thought he had glasses on, like fake glasses. And I
Like
thought, ooh.
fake eyeglasses?
Yeah.
Not sunglasses?
No.
Okay.
So we're just made for one another. And I thought, ooh, he's cute. And then my second thought was, no, you didn't come here for boys. Don't talk to him. And then he was with a group of friends, and I'm just a free spirit. I'll go eat with anyone. I'll talk to anybody. So there was a restaurant across the street. So we went across the street and ate, and he would not talk to me. He gave me very one-word answers. He had mentioned he lived in Europe as a child because he's a military brat. And I said, oh, my sister lived in Germany. And it was very like, okay,
Really?
sure. I thought, well, I'm not going to talk to this guy anymore.
No
He's
kidding.
kind of rude. And then Maui is very small. It's a very, very small island. So you do kind of start running in the same circles and
okay.
seeing people all the time.
Interesting. I didn't
Yeah,
know that about
yeah.
you.
I didn't know anything about that. Yeah, then I just started applying for jobs, and I got a job at Tiffany's.
Hang on. He didn't hardly talk to you, but you're married to him.
But,
like,
yeah.
close the gap for me.
Sorry. I just went to the next
I know,
thing.
like, wait.
Yeah, I just started running into him, and then he asked me for my phone number. And then the best part is we were hanging out. We were not dating, and he called me and asked me out on a date, and I told him no.
What?
I said, no, I don't think so.
Well, he didn't seem interested, right? Or just his one-word answer?
And I said, but we can still be friends and hang out every day. We would go hiking together and up to the bamboo forest. And we'd do all these crazy adventures. We tried to go up to the top of the volcano, and I got elevation sickness.
Oof.
So, then there's pictures of me coming back down the mountain with a paper bag, laughing, breathing into it, So I just got real dizzy. And so he was, and then the best part, I think, was we were hanging out at his house. He lived with a bunch of guys, and there was another woman there who ended up becoming a good friend of mine. But she said, so when are you leaving? When are you going home? And I said, well, I live here. I mean, I guess in like 5 minutes. I mean, you want me out of here kind of thing. And she said, I thought you and Daniel were like best friends from high school. I thought you guys had known each other. And I said, no, I met him last Tuesday. I just met this guy. So it was just that immediate connection, immediate friendship, immediate. I had kind of manifested him before I left. I wanted a guy who's into family, who could play guitar, it was just funny and, smart and all, whatever your checklist is. And
you had this list before you went to the island?
Yeah, I didn't write it down. I was kind of just telling somebody, hey, when I get to Hawaii, I'm going to meet blah, blah, blah. Just kind of kidding.
Right.
Not really thinking consciously that
Those
would happen.
words had power.
And then we were driving in the car one day. We were not dating yet. And I said, I wish I could meet somebody on the island who plays guitar. Just like I sing, and so, let's just hang out on the beach, and I'll sing, and you can play guitar. And he goes, I play guitar, right? And in my head, I thought, yeah, of course you do. Of course. You do. I'm going to have to marry this one.
Did you tell him that at that point?
Not at that time. He knows the story now, so. But not at that point.
Is that when you started thinking about you would date him then?
I think so. It was right around that same time. It was very fast and furious for us. We were engaged very quickly, and and we got married that next October, and
I love your story.
So, we had our son. Not quite a year later. It was like 11 months later. After we got married.
Wow,
so,
man.
Yeah, it was very fast. And
did he learn to have more than just one-word answers? And
he did.
Engage?
He is a talker. He likes to talk.
I was going to say, he had to give you material. You're funny.
He did.
You like to be sarcastic. Like, he's got to give you material to
Well,
work
he
with.
always said, well, I didn't want to talk too much and scare you. I'm like, so you just went
completely
nothing?
the other way.
Yeah.
That is so sweet. The one thing you went to not do is what you did.
Right.
So why did you guys decide to move this way?
Hawaii is very expensive. It's gorgeous. There's tons to do. I miss it. I miss being out in nature. I miss being able to go to the beach or hiking or just spending time just within nature. Like the waves were big in Jaws, and everybody went to watch the waves. It was a full moon. Everybody went to the beach for a bonfire, and we watched like the full moon, and we're just
cool.
That kind of thing, which you don't do here. You can't. It would be weird if I put on social media, anyone want to go watch the full moon in a field with me?
I would not think that's weird at all. I love full moons so much. My mom will text me and say, go look at the moon.
Yeah,
so I love full moons.
It was just, we had our son, and it was very expensive to live there. He was working full-time. I was working full-time, so we didn't really have time together as much. And our family, it's going to be expensive for them to come to Hawaii. So we thought, let's come back here. And we were not going to come to Texas. I did not want to come to Texas. I did not want to come back, I had said. So we were going to do Portland, Denver, or Nashville were our top 3 choices. And then I was working at Tiffany's, and customers kept coming in. They'd be from Texas, or somebody would call and they would need something shipped to Texas. I mean, it was just...
It just kept being in your face.
And I was like, all right, God, I get it. I heard you the first time, you know. So we decided to move back here. His job was able to transfer. My sister was here. My parents have now moved here from California, so they live in Greenville. So we're all nice and close now. So
that's so special. You basically had to go to Hawaii to find your husband.
yes, yep. And luckily it was the first day, so I didn't waste much time.
No, I think that took way too long, Vanessa. The first day.
Yeah, I mean, get it together, right?
Are you sure it was at the car dealership guy that picked you up? Oh my! I love your story. So how did you end up at the Chamber of Commerce in Royse City, Texas then? I mean, I get you came back because your family was here, but how did you get to the Chamber? Was that part of your background or?
No, I was working at a nonprofit in Garland. I was the manager of a resale store for a nonprofit. I've been in the nonprofit world for many years now, but it was for domestic violence victims, children, women and children primarily. And my sister was visiting back in Germany, and she sent me an email or something and said, hey, our local Chamber of Commerce is hiring. You should apply. And I had just prayed, God, can you give me something to do more in the community? And I was thinking volunteer, like once a month. Right. You know, tell me what organization to do, something closer to home. I like giving back. I like being able to help. And then I got that email. And so I went to the interview. I have a lot of funny stories.
I love your stories.
My son, who was 18 months, he had to have tubes in his ears. Well, we had scheduled the surgery, and then I got the call that the interview was at, 9:30 in the morning, and his surgery was at 7. And my husband said, just do it, just do the interview. And I thought, oh, I'm a terrible mother. Who goes to a job interview after her child has surgery? Like, what a terrible person. He's like, just do it. I'll be there, your parents, everyone. So he did. He had surgery. Everything was fine. I got dressed, did my makeup in the bathroom because we had to be there at 4 in the morning.
Right.
So we were at Texas Health, and I drove separately, drove straight to the interview, and...
So you didn't miss the surgery?
I did not, no.
So
I was there the whole time. He woke up, everything was fine, and then I drove, and I wasn't going to tell them, but somehow it came up, and they said, your son just had surgery this morning. Like, that's commitment.
That is commitment.
Like, you know, if it's a job that needs to get done, it'll get done. Kind of attitude, so...
Well, I mean, and you're an open person. I'm pretty sure I understand why that came up. that showed your dedication, too. You know, yes. I'm sure the ones interviewing you are like, okay, this lady is dedicated. So, it was a win-win.
It was.
You took care
it
of
was, and I worked 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from my home, and my son's school is very close, so it's all...
So you mentioned domestic violence,
that
was near and dear to your heart. And so you and I talked about that a little bit before we hit start. And can you share why domestic violence is near and dear to your heart and why you do serve so much in that?
I mean, I am a survivor. I don't talk about it a lot. Just for whatever reason, I'm not ashamed by it or anything like that. It was years and years ago, and I have completely forgiven the person. I have no ill will towards him at all. Like, it took many years, but... You know, it's not one of those things where I hear his name and I panic. It's not like that anymore. But so many women feel like they cannot leave and they cannot get out. And I would never want a woman or a man, it does not matter because men are just as abused as women, to ever feel like she is trapped. And so many women, I mean, we hear all the time. There was I think of a situation just a couple days ago that a woman was brutally murdered by her ex, you know, and it's something that we don't talk about enough. People don't want to talk about it. They don't want to hear about it. They want to turn a blind eye. They want to, if I don't see it, it's not happening, kind of thing.
Right.
Kind of same as child abuse, you know, if we don't, I think children, you're a little more I would hope that people are a little more open to say,
Right.
you know, let's
Yes,
save
like-
this child,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly,
But
exactly.
with domestic violence, and you'll see it, you know, even on social media, well, why didn't she leave? You know, she could have left, and it's not that easy. It's a cycle of
Right.
violence that I think needs to be talked about more. And so I don't shy away from that.
Right.
I mean, if you ask me directly, yes, I am a survivor.
I am so sorry.
So
you went through that.
It's part of my story, and it taught me to be more independent and stronger. And, you know, when the last situation that happened between us, I packed my bags and I went and hid, and then I moved to San Francisco. I kind of just...
So that caused you to...
That caused me to...
You really didn't have to flip much of a coin.
I didn't have to, you know, I was like, fingers crossed this coin works out well. I really want to go to the city.
It was in your favor.
But
What gave you the strength to finally pack your bags and leave?
He had slammed the car door on my legs and my phone. Like, I think he threw my phone down. This is so long ago now, and shattered the phone and said something like, the police will never help you, or something like that. And I just had this flash of, I can choose to not be here anymore. I don't have to stay here, and I don't have children with this man, and I'm 19 years old, or 21. I was 21 at the time.
Wow,
We were
you're so
19 when we
young.
started dating. And I just thought, I don't have to do this. I don't have to stay here. And that this is just my personal experience. I would never, you know, think that a woman should think that. I think we all have to come to terms. And I think
Right.
with women specifically who have children that get trapped in that kind of situation, they're trapped. And they're, you know, domestic violence isn't, you don't go out on the first date and later that night he's talking horribly to you
Right.
or hitting you or something.
Right.
It is a cycle.
It
and
evolves
it
over
definitely over time, and they're brainwashed. I believe it is some sort of mental illness that comes from both parties, you know, that it can warp your mind over time. And if you've ever talked to a victim who's gone through much horrific things, more than I ever did, they still have a little bit of panic, and you can feel that, you know. And I would
That's
love
something you don't forget.
No.
But releasing that and embracing your story about it
Yeah.
and sharing it with others to help others overcome that.
Yes.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I think that is very freeing to share your story.
And I've gotten calls in the middle of the night. I have let women sleep on my couch. I have hid people out of my house, you know, especially like, I barely know you. He won't know you're here,
Right.
kind of thing. He's never going to come
Right.
to my house, you know.
He's not going to know to look for you.
Yeah.
here.
So I had a friend do that for me. I had a friend do that for me, and he never knew I was there. And so,
That's priceless,
know,
those
you
relationships.
know, those
and,
are the...
and people need to know they're not alone, that there are other people who go through the domestic violence and that there is hope, you know.
And domestic violence, too, is not just physical violence. And I wish more people would understand that if somebody loves you, they don't talk down to you. They don't call you names. They don't tell you you're worthless or terrible or stupid or any of the, you know, X, Y, and Z.
Right.
If they love you. Like,
If
my
they truly
husband
love
would
you.
never, ever talk to me like that. One, that's just not who he is.
Right.
But two, I think he might be a little...
I think you might be a little scared, Vanessa.
he'll come home to an empty house because I'll be gone.
Exactly.
So-
Well, and not tolerating it.
And not tolerating
up front
it.
in the very beginning. That will save you a lot of hurt
Exactly.
and pain and those sorts of things.
And we raise our son to respect women and respect. He's 5, so we have to put it on a 5-year-old level that
Right.
you will not hit girls, you will not pull their hair, you will not pinch them. They're gentle, and we treat them
with respect.
with respect, and that is adamant. And when he gets older, I will. My sister does this with her son. Has always said, "You ever hit a woman, I will pay for her attorney," and that is the same for my child. Like, it's not tolerated.
That
Like,
makes it very clear that's zero tolerance.
It's zero tolerance. Like, you will not do it. Period. I don't care what the circumstance is. So
I think that's great that you do that.
yeah.
I don't think you're going to have to put him in counseling for that.
Yeah.
We're still going to have to
For being a liar.
Cindy and for being related to the queen. Yeah. Well, we're on Heart of Royse City, and so I just want to take a minute and talk about what you love about Royse City. I know we could go through this long list,
Right.
and you could tell us all the amazing, wonderful things that the chamber does. We've had so many guests on the show that just they sing your
They
praises.
cover. Oh,
And
good.
You guys do a phenomenal job in this community, and you represent well. And other communities see
Thank
that
you.
and acknowledge that, and are kind of like, I want to be like that.
Good. We try and make it fun. Ashley
You
and I have a
do.
great partnership, and we try and have fun. We laugh every day, and and
I
I think that comes out.
It comes out in your
With
social
others,
media
yeah.
posts for sure.
Yeah.
And I love that because they're catchy. It makes you want to read your social
Right.
media post. But I want to know from you, Vanessa, what is your favorite thing about Royse City? What makes you
favorite
love?
thing?
Not even a thing. What do you love about this community?
So I grew up in Southern California, a town called Rancho Cucamonga. You may have heard of it.
Not heard of that one.
I thought it was a small town because my dad was the first graduating class of our high school. My sister graduated from there. I graduated from there. So I thought it was a small town until I moved to Royse City. And I was like, oh, this is what small town America they're talking about. I guess 150,000 people is not small town.
no.
And that was, I won't tell you how old I am, but it was a long time ago. I mean, it is double the size of Rockwall County. It's probably the size of Rockwall and Greenville.
Oh, wow.
All of
And you
Rockwall
thought that
County
was
and
small town.
Greenville. I thought that was small town because my dad's best friend was the fire chief, who's now the mayor, and he went to grade school with him, and
Oh, wow.
everybody knew each other, and some people are still there. I just thought that it was small town, and then I came here, and okay, this is what they're talking about. But I do, even though I did not grow up here, I love that people have stories about, I went to in second grade, or whatever, or I remember this building or that building. I like history and just all that. Just the old town, just Main Street, for instance, is so, it's just, you can tell the buildings have a lot of history. And I love that. I love that the train tracks go right through the middle of town,
Yes.
and I do like that everybody is so supportive. I think that is a big, big deal, especially for any community, whether it's small or large, of supporting one another. When something bad happens to an organization, everybody kind of pulls together. Like, how can we help? What can we do? If the food pantry needs food, it takes one social media post and they're stocked, and
Isn't that awesome?
that kind of, it's just across the board. The school district, everybody supports the school district, that kind of, I just love it. I like that feeling of togetherness, even though it is growing very, very quickly, it still has that small town feel, or just, I don't even want to say small town, I think, because, I don't know, maybe we aren't small town anymore. But I'm a bad judge of that, clearly.
I think we're still small town.
Yeah.
Compared to what you thought was small town,
Right.
we're definitely still small town.
So,
Oh, I love
Yes.
that. Well, you've done a great job representing this community.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you for your service to
yes.
this community. and
Thank you.
your
I
heart here.
appreciate it. and You're welcome.
Well, I like to close out the show asking just a random question.
Okay.
So if you will pick a number between 1 and 20, I'm going to ask you your random question.
9.
Oh, yay. 9. Well, sometimes I get a lot of the same numbers, and so I'm like, I
okay.
don't get 9 very often. So
I was married on the 9th, and our son was born on the 9th.
Oh,
so
it's your lucky
That's
number?
a good number. It's a good coin number.
okay, if you could time travel, where would you go and why?
I can go either way.
Anyway, forward, backward.
I would go back to the Henry VIII Tudor times
That
and
era?
Boleyn era.
Really?
Yeah.
And tell me why.
My sister and I are both love the Tudor dynasty history. We just soak it up. We're obsessed with all of the wives and the history, and so I would probably take a jacket though, because it would be very cold with no heaters. Yeah, I just love that time. Yeah, I would definitely, that would be my time.
That you would travel back
Yeah,
to.
but-
What would you want to do in that time frame?
Honestly, I don't think I'd be a woman. They were
You
not
would
treated
not-
very nicely. I'd probably be a man. They were treated a little more kindly. So
Would you be in leadership? Would you? What would you wanna
probably
do?
leadership, just so I would know that I'm a little more safe than
Right. With your
than,
jacket.
yeah, with my jacket. They got to wear big furs and stuff. So
I know. I really did love all the wardrobe.
yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. But or just to be like a fly on the wall. Maybe I would take a job that no one paid attention to, so you could hear things.
And hear what was really going
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
That's so fun. Well, Vanessa, I've had so much fun with you today.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sitting down with me
Yes.
and sharing your story and sharing what you love about Royse City. And just, it's been such a pleasure. So
Yes,
thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Thank you for watching Heart of Royse City. This video series, which is designed to celebrate Royse City, Texas, is spearheaded by REMAX 3D Real Estate.